If you want to feel old, then just remember that Spider-Man was released over 20 years ago. I mean, my boy Tobey Maguire is almost 50 years old at this point. He's like the same age now as Willem Dafoe was when he first portrayed the Green Goblin.
I don't understand.
And like the vast majority of you, I also grew up with Tobey as my Spider-Man. Nothing wrong with Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland, but you know Tobey just holds a special place in my heart.
Oh boy, yeah.
Anyway, speaking of the Green Goblin, I think he may be the best live-action Spider-Man villain that we've ever got. Even though sometimes I prefer Doc Ock, there's just something about Willem Dafoe's performance that just really does it for me. I don't know, just the fact that the Green Goblin exists purely to wreak havoc in this world and is nothing short of pure evil. Like, there's no denying that Green Goblin is probably the most terrifying villain out of all the Spider-Man live-action villains. And there are always certain moments in a movie where the actor delivers such an incredible performance as the villain, to the point where we can truly see how chaotic and evil their villain is.
What would I do without you?
And for me, the scene that I want to focus on is the ending of Spider-Man.
Can Spider-Man come out to play?
So we start off with Mary Jane being kidnapped. I mean, who could have guessed that? She finds herself on top of a bridge where the Green Goblin chases down a bunch of kids. And I don't know what schools have field trips at night, but anyways, I'm not going to question it. But unfortunately, their trip is cut short and they are now hostages of the Goblin. Luckily, Spider-Man shows up just in time to save them.
Goblin, what have you done?
But oh no, the Green Goblin has a few tricks up his sleeve.
This is why only fools are heroes.
So the Green Goblin puts Spider-Man in this position where he has to choose between saving Mary Jane or the kids. And I don't know, this just seems like the most messed up way that any villain could ever go about doing something. When it's like forcing the heroes to choose between saving a bunch of people or saving someone they care about. Like, that is always a dilemma where there isn't really a right or wrong option, and it truly shows how psychotic this guy can be. By the way, I would really appreciate it if you tap that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet.
Let die the woman you love, or suffer the little children. We are who we choose to be. Now choose!
Anyway, Spider-Man ends up making the right choice and saves Mary Jane. I mean, that's what the kids think at first anyways, because they just see Spider-Man running in the wrong direction.
See you, chump.
But we all know Spidey always has a plan, so he manages to save both of them.
It's time to die!
I truly can't help but love this moment right here. Just the way that New York all comes together to take Spider-Man's side, even though like some of them were completely against him, you know, midway through the film. But now they kind of see what type of person he is, the hero he can be. And it's really such a heartwarming moment.
You mess with Spidey, you mess with New York! You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us!
I know they tried a similar thing in The Amazing Spider-Man, but personally I don't really think it came across as well, because there was never really a point in the movie where we felt that New York was against Spider-Man. So when they came together to help him at the end, it just didn't really feel as impactful as it does in, you know, Tobey Maguire's version. Like, we see Spider-Man trying his hardest to try and save everyone, but at the same time Green Goblin is trying to kill him, and it's really just so intense. But with the help of New York, they manage to help Spider-Man save Mary Jane and the kids, but the Green Goblin is not done with him yet. He ties up Spider-Man and throws him into the most brutal fight that we've ever seen in any live-action Spider-Man, in my opinion. I mean, everything about this ending fight is just so hectic from start to finish. It already starts with Spider-Man getting a grenade to the face. Like, we've seen what those grenades have done to people in this movie. But somehow he manages to survive this. Unless they were two different kinds of grenades, but who knows.
Misery, 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 that's what you've chosen.
But everything about this ending fight is really so extreme, because there is like no music playing. It is just raw fighting to the death. Like, we can hear Peter's screams and it is just horrifying. The way Peter is doing everything in his power to try and stop the Goblin, but he just keeps getting knocked down time and time again. Like, Sam Raimi did not hold back when filming this scene.
You've spun your last web, Spider-Man.
I personally think that the Green Goblin is probably one of the only villains, if not the only Spider-Man villain that we've seen in live action that truly feels the most deadly on screen.
MJ and I, we're gonna have a hell of a time.
And just when we thought it was over, Spider-Man manages to get up because Green Goblin threatens the one person he cares about. Like, come on now, we all know that is something you just don't do. So Spider-Man ends up retaliating, but before he can truly take down the Goblin, he reveals himself to be Norman Osborn.
Peter, stop! Stop! It's me. Mr. Osborn.
I'm not gonna lie, when I first watched this movie, like, I don't know how many times, I was always confused by this ending because I didn't know who was actually talking to Peter in this moment. Was it Norman Osborn or was it Green Goblin pretending to be Norman Osborn? Because when you think about it, why would Norman want to kill Peter Parker? So you'd think that it's the Green Goblin who's talking to Peter this whole time, but if that was the case, then why didn't his spider sense, like, alert him that this wasn't Norman?
That's some neat trick. That sense of yours.
So I don't know, there are a lot of theories that I have, but I want to know what are your guys' thoughts about this ending scenario.
You, Peter Parker, would save me, and so you have.
I've been like a father to you.
I have a father. His name was Ben Parker.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man lets his guard down long enough for the Goblin to try and use his glider to impale him, but unfortunately for the Goblin there is no beating Spider-Man's spidey sense.
Oh. Don't tell Harry.
But of course Peter Parker feels responsible for his death. He truly wished that he could have saved Norman from becoming what he had become.
I think I can make an anti-serum for Dr. Osborn. Been thinking about it a long time.
So, in my opinion, I think that this scene is the best scene that we've ever gotten with the Green Goblin. I do think that the apartment scene in Spider-Man No Way Home does come kind of close, but I don't know, there's just something about the true brutality of the Goblin in this movie that just really hits different. Although the Goblin did end up killing Aunt May in Spider-Man No Way Home.
You tried to fix me.
Let go.
Now, I'm gonna fix you.
So, I don't know, like, both are pretty brutal, so you guys let me know which one do you think is the better scene of the two. Click here to check out my full breakdown of that scene, and I'll see you guys in the next one.